Hello again, everybody. It's Scott Casper for Takedown Wrestling. We continue our coverage of the sport, coast to coast, border to border. This time we head to Colorado Springs, where Tiffany Clark joins us. Tiffany Clark, how are you?
Good. Thanks so much for having me, Scott.
Well, you're welcome. I'll tell you something. I was not. I guess I was surprised when they announced the hiring of you for the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. But based on your qualifications, what a great hire by Leroy Smith. You are the new director, taking over for Krista Graff,
Mhm.
operations manager for the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Talk to us a bit about how this whole thing came about, because I always saw you as a long termer at USA Wrestling.
Sure. I've been here for just over 3 years, and then I was an intern before then. I've had a long career in wrestling. Definitely love doing anything I can for the sport. It's been great to work for USA Wrestling out in Colorado Springs. I love running the senior level tournaments. So there's a lot of great things about it, a lot of stressful things too, of course. So just looking at my career progression, I thought it may have been time. I wasn't necessarily looking, but I saw the opportunity and thought it was something that I could definitely do great things with, and just express my interest, and things moved pretty quickly after that.
Feeler recognized you with a Silver Star 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago anyway, for your work and your excellence in your work. Uh, and I thought, you know what? There's a very deserving person for all that you put into it. It seems like nothing at these events that you've produced could frazzle you. Is that just the outward appearance? Are there nerves and stuff that go go behind the scenes?
Absolutely. I'm so glad that that's the outward appearance. That's really what I judge as a successful event. We always know the little things that go on behind the scenes. And if no one else in the general public knows about those, then that's great. So that's always the goal. You're probably never going to have an event where something doesn't go somewhat wrong. But if you can handle it and make sure that no one else knows about it, then I think that's great.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your history. Obviously, a graduate of Penn State University in 2007. I find that hard to believe because I don't think you're that old. You must have started really young. But you started as the office manager for the Nittany Lions in 2007, obviously under a different coach at the time. You saw that program change. You served as championship manager for the 2009 Big Ten Wrestling Championships when it was held at University Park. That is a big, big job. The Big Tens are a big job and only getting more so. Talk to us about your experience doing that.
Sure, I loved that opportunity. I jumped at the chance to help out when we knew we were hosting that. I'd been in the office for a year before then, working with Troy and the staff at that time. I had a great opportunity to come on full time after I graduated. I had worked with the program when I was in school, so it was a wonderful continuation of that. And, I really kind of actually fought my way into a leadership role there. There were some people in the athletic administration who weren't very interested in having me help out. But, I definitely proved myself, and, was very, very involved in that position, that event, and it was fantastic. So that's really one of the biggest events that I started out with, and have just gone up from there.
Why wrestling? What attracted you to the sport initially? Tiffany, can you hear me? We seem to have lost contact with Tiffany Clark. Let's see what we can do to regain. Tiffany Clark rejoins us from the offices of USA Wrestling in Colorado Springs. It was announced just days ago that she would replace Krista Graff, or at least take the role of operations manager for the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and its properties. Leroy Smith made that announcement just today. Uh, if we can get her to turn her camera back on, we'll see Tiffany back
Scott, can you
on the
hear me?
screen. I can. There you are.
Okay.
You're
Let me,
back.
there, I'm
There's
back.
your
Okay.
camera. Yes. So and I'll explain to our audience, because this will go unedited. But I'll explain to our audience that you're working on a wireless at USA Wrestling's headquarters in Colorado Springs, and you're in the lower level of the building.
Yes.
So that's my explanation as to why you broke up. So I covered well, I think. I covered well. So you mentioned having to fight your way through to get to that position at Penn State. Why wrestling? My question there right before we lost you was why wrestling?
Sure. So it's an interesting story, a little bit unusual. Kind of got into it without any knowledge at all. I had taken dance lessons. I did ballet for about 5 years when I was younger, and our studio closed after my seventh grade year. I felt like I needed something to do, and eighth grade was the first time that we could be mat maids. I didn't have any clue what wrestling was about. My mom was a mat maid in high school, so I knew that she had been involved, but no one in the family had any involvement other than that. So I got a friend to join with me, and I fell in love with it. I was, manager in high school, and then was able to be involved at Penn State very heavily, and somehow I made a career out of it. So I've been very
Obviously.
fortunate.
Yeah, and job well done, by the way. And I know you continue to expand your horizons, which leads us to the next step, moving to
Mm-hmm.
Stillwater. And I understand the problems there because where I was a Hawkeye, I have to work with all the I get the opportunity, I should say, to work with all the colleges. Once in Nittany Lion, are you going to have any trouble moving into the backyard of the Cowboys of Oklahoma State?
Absolutely not. I've worked with people from so many different programs in my most recent position. So I've really become Team USA instead of Penn State. I'll always bleed blue and white, but there's definitely a bigger picture now that I've accepted. And Oklahoma State has great history and tradition. And I'm very excited to be right next door to them, pretty much on campus, and become a supporter.
Just always remember, park close to the Hall of Fame. We're talking with Tiffany Clark. It's been announced today that she'll be taking the spot, and it's been an extensive search, by the way, taking the spot of Krista Graff as the operations manager for the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and all of its properties. Leroy Smith making the announcement today. Taking a job that Krista has done and done well as she's been promoted, left a great opportunity for you, obviously. What made you right, in your estimation, what made you right for this role?
I think my willingness just to do anything for the sport is a great aspect. I think they are really interested in my experience in the sport. They don't have to bring in someone who has no knowledge of wrestling. They've got someone who's very well connected in the sport. So I think that was a great appeal. I've worked with Krista in the past. We were there for our World Team Trials in Stillwater a couple years ago. So it was great working with her. She's been there forever. I'm so glad that she has the opportunity that she does now to move into a different role. And it'll be great working with her. So I'm really excited to work with everyone there.
She doesn't, and she's another one that doesn't like you, doesn't show your age. A lot of people wouldn't believe she's close to 50 years old.
I had no idea.
I know. She'll be surprised to hear that herself, I'm sure. So, your experience with national events obviously is a big deal because you're going to be dealing with all the folks from all the colleges in the celebration of the sport in the Hall of Fame. And expanding that operation to the two facilities is a big opportunity as well. But, when Leroy said that he's excited to have you join the Hall of Fame based on your experience at the highest level, and truly USA Wrestling is one of those peaks of the sport, is it going to be hard to leave?
It is definitely, there's certainly some sad feelings there. There are some events that I won't be very involved in anymore. And I've made a lot of great connections and relationships over the past few years. So, it is a little bit of a transition, but I think it'll still be good and somewhat easy because I'll still be in the sport. It's not like I'm getting out. I'm working with an organization that will be involved in a lot of the same things. So I think it'll be hopefully a smooth transition.
All right. So, and I know there are many more hats you wear, but concessions, catering, parking, ticketing, merchandising, video broadcasting, sponsor fulfillment, all these duties you had under your title of coordinator of national events. You bring all those with you, or will there be some that perhaps that aren't even on the list that you'll be having to master?
Sure. I think what isn't really on the list right now, but I've had some involvement in, is the development side of things. So I think that will take up more of a percentage of my work in the new position, but I'm not afraid of that at all. I have experience with writing grants and getting proposals and all of that, doing a little bit of sponsor fulfillment, that type of thing. So I think it'll be a great area to grow my skills in, but certainly not anything that I can't handle.
Are you excited to join Leroy Smith and Krista and the balance of the staff in? And this is a big deal 'cause to me. You are the caretakers of the history of our sport. Are you excited for the opportunity?
Absolutely. Everyone has been so great so far, so nice and welcoming. So I'm really excited to join the staff, also work with the Board of Governors. I already know several people that are involved. So I think it'll be great to work with the ones that I have worked with in the past and then work with ones that I haven't. So I'm really looking forward to all of that.
Well, you're going to be leaving your boyfriend behind. How difficult is that?
Hopefully not for too long.
Well, we'll cross our fingers that he can find employment at OSU as well. So,
Sure.
well, look, Tiffany, I just wanted to call and congratulate, and more than anything, let people know a little bit about you and what perhaps they can expect from you in the future. Congratulations on the new job, and more. I think we need to thank you for the job you've done. For USA Wrestling and for the sport as a whole. You've done an outstanding job, and I can't wait to see what's next for you.
I know. I'm excited to see what comes next, too. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you. That's Tiffany Clark. It's been announced out of Stillwater, Oklahoma, that she will become the new ops director, the new ops manager of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum. A big job indeed, but I have a feeling she's up for it. I'm Scott Casper. Thanks for watching.